The moment your Chihuahua stops walking, most owners instinctively pull. Just a little. Just enough to say, "Come on. Let's keep going. You're okay." And most of the time, that pull comes from love, not anger, not impatience, not cruelty. You are only trying to help them move forward. But what if that tiny pull happens at the exact moment? Your Chihuahua needs something else. You are walking together. The leash is resting in your hand. Their little paws are moving beside you. Everything feels normal. Then suddenly, they stop. Not slowly, not gently. They stop completely. 4 tiny paws press into the ground. Their body becomes still. You look down. And for a second, it looks like stubbornness. Because Chihuahuas can be bold, opinionated, dramatic in the smallest ways. So when they suddenly refuse to move, it is easy to think they just don't want to listen. But before you pull them forward again, pause. Because that little frozen body may be telling you something. Something quieter than barking. Something softer than whining. Something many owners miss. Your Chihuahua may not be refusing the walk. They may be refusing the fear they feel inside it. And if that is true, then pulling harder may not help. It may make the moment feel even bigger. So before you decide your Chihuahua is being difficult, look at the pause. Look at the stillness. Look at the tiny body that suddenly stopped. Because sometimes, the first sign that a Chihuahua feels unsafe is not noise. It is silence. And once you understand that, the word stubborn begins to feel very different. And this is where many owners misunderstand the moment. Because Chihuahuas are not quiet little shadows. They have personality. A lot of it. They know what they like. They know what they do not like. They can be confident, selective, expressive. Sometimes, almost too expressive. So when your Chihuahua stops in the middle of a walk, it is easy to think, "Oh, here we go again." They just don't want to listen. They want to go home. They want to be carried. They're testing me. And sometimes, it really can look that way. A tiny dog, standing firmly on the sidewalk, refusing to move, looking up at you like the decision has already been made. It can feel like a battle. You want to go forward. They want to stay. You are thinking about the walk, the exercise, the routine, the time. But your Chihuahua may be experiencing something completely different. And that is the part many people miss. Because stubbornness is a human label. It is what we call the behavior when we only see the outside. But fear, discomfort, or uncertainty often happens on the inside, quietly, before we understand it, before we notice the trigger, before we realize the walk has changed for them. From above, your Chihuahua may look difficult, but from inside their little body, they may be trying to manage a feeling that suddenly became too big. That is why the word stubborn can be so misleading. It makes the moment feel like a problem with obedience, when it may actually be a problem with safety. And once you see it that way, the question changes. It is no longer, "Why won't my Chihuahua obey me?" It becomes, "What is my Chihuahua feeling right now that makes the next step so hard?" Because sometimes, your Chihuahua is not trying to win. They are trying to feel safe enough to move. Try to imagine the walk, not from your height, but from theirs. Your Chihuahua is only a few inches above the ground. The sidewalk is not just a sidewalk. It is a wide, open path, filled with movement. Shoes pass close to their face. Wheels roll by. Cars rush past. A truck does not just sound loud. It shakes the air around them. A barking dog behind a fence may not feel far away. It may feel close. Too close. A stranger walking quickly toward you may seem harmless to you. But to a Chihuahua, that same movement may feel sudden, fast, unpredictable. Even the little things can feel bigger from down there. A trash can scraping on the pavement, a door slamming, a bicycle passing behind them, a child running, a plastic bag moving in the wind, a sound you barely notice, may be the sound that makes your Chihuahua stop. And this is why the moment can feel so confusing. Because from where you stand, nothing happened. The street looks normal. The sidewalk looks safe. The walk looks exactly the same as yesterday. But from where your Chihuahua stands, something may have changed. A sound, a smell, a shadow, a movement. A dog in the distance, a place that already made them nervous before. And suddenly, their little body says, "Wait, not yet. I need to understand this first." That does not mean your Chihuahua is weak. It does not mean they are dramatic. It may simply mean they are sensitive to a world that is much louder, much larger, and much closer than it feels to us. So when they freeze during a walk, try not to only see the refusal. Try to see the size of the world around them. Because to you, it may be just another street. But to your Chihuahua, it may feel like a lot to face, all at once. Fear does not always look loud. That is something many owners miss. A scared Chihuahua may bark, they may shake, they may try to run back home. But sometimes, fear is much quieter than that. Sometimes fear looks like stillness. A tiny body, frozen in place, silent on the sidewalk, not moving forward, not turning back, just standing there, as if their whole body is trying to decide what to do next. Your Chihuahua may lower their head. Their ears may move back. Their tail may drop. They may look away from the direction you want to go. They may scan the street. They may lick their lips. They may yawn. They may refuse a treat they normally love. Or they may simply stand still and wait. To a person that can look like refusal, but to a small dog who feels unsure, it may be a pause for safety, a moment to watch, to listen, to understand. And that pause matters. Because when we only look for dramatic fear, we may miss the quiet kind. We may miss the Chihuahua who is not barking, but is still overwhelmed. We may miss the Chihuahua who is not pulling away, but is still unsure. We may miss the Chihuahua who looks stubborn, but may actually be asking for a little more time. This is why forcing the next step can be difficult for them. Not because your Chihuahua is trying to win, not because they are trying to embarrass you, but because their body may not feel ready yet. And sometimes, the quietest dog on the sidewalk is the one feeling the most. And this is why it can feel so sudden. Your Chihuahua was walking. Everything seemed fine. Then, in 1 second, they stopped. To you, it may look like it happened for no reason, but your Chihuahua may have noticed something first. Something small, something distant, something you did not hear. A dog barking behind a fence, a truck turning the corner, a person walking too quickly, a bicycle coming from behind, a gate moving in the wind, a loud engine, a strange smell, a shadow across the sidewalk, a place where they felt nervous before, or even the leash tightening. Right at the moment something startled them. To you, these things may disappear almost instantly, but to your Chihuahua, one tiny detail can change the whole walk. The street may no longer feel familiar. The path ahead may no longer feel safe. The next step may suddenly feel too difficult, and because they cannot point to the trigger, they stop. They freeze. They wait. They let their body speak for them. This is the part many owners never see. The walk did not stop for no reason. It may have stopped for a reason too small for you to notice, but too big for your Chihuahua to ignore. So when your Chihuahua suddenly refuses to move, try not to ask only, what is wrong with them? Try asking, what changed for them? Because sometimes, the answer is not obvious, but their pause is still real. This is where the leash matters. Because when your Chihuahua stops, your first instinct may be to guide them forward. Just a little. A gentle pull. A small tug. A quiet reminder that the walk is supposed to continue. And most owners do this with love, not anger, not impatience, not cruelty. They are simply trying to help their Chihuahua move past the moment. But if your Chihuahua is afraid, that pull may feel different to them. It may not feel like help. It may feel like pressure. The scary place gets closer. The sound gets louder. The dog ahead feels nearer. The thing they were unsure about is now the thing they are being pulled toward. And for a small dog, that can make the moment feel even bigger. This does not mean you have done something wrong. It means your Chihuahua may need a different kind of support. Not force, not frustration, not a tighter leash, but a pause, a breath, a little more space. Because in that moment, your calmness may matter more than movement. Your Chihuahua may not need you to prove that everything is safe. They may need you to help them feel safe enough to try. And sometimes, that begins by not pulling, by waiting, by noticing, by letting the leash become soft again, because a leash can guide. But when fear is involved, too much pressure may turn guidance into something heavier, and the walk should never feel like something your Chihuahua has to survive. It should feel like something they can trust. But there is one important thing we should not forget. Sometimes, a Chihuahua does not stop because of fear. Sometimes, they stop because something in their body does not feel right. A tiny paw may hurt. A nail may feel sore. A small stone may be caught between their toes. The pavement may be too hot or too cold. Their harness may be rubbing in the wrong place. Their legs may feel tired. Their joints may feel uncomfortable. Or the walk that felt easy yesterday may not feel easy today. And because Chihuahuas are so small, even a little discomfort can change everything. A step that looks simple to you may feel difficult to them. A sidewalk that looks normal may feel rough under their paws. A harness that seemed fine at home may press differently once they start moving. So before you decide your Chihuahua is refusing the walk, look gently at their body. Are they limping? Are they holding one paw up? Are they shaking more than usual? Are they yelping when touched? Do they seem suddenly tired? Are they eating less? Are they acting different at home too? These signs matter, because not every pause is emotional. Some pauses are physical, and the most loving response is not to guess too quickly. It is to notice, to check, to slow down. If this behavior is sudden, severe, repeated, or comes with limping, yelping, shaking, unusual tiredness, appetite changes, or other concerning signs, speaking with a veterinarian or qualified behavior professional may be appropriate, because sometimes your Chihuahua is not saying, "I won't walk." They may be saying, "Walking does not feel okay right now." And when you see it that way, the question becomes gentler. Not, "Why are you refusing?" but, "What are you trying to show me?" Because before we ask a Chihuahua to be brave, we first need to make sure they are not hurting. So what should you do when your Chihuahua stops walking? First, pause. Do not rush the moment. Do not tighten the leash. Do not turn it into a battle. Just stop with them. Let the leash become soft in your hand. Take one quiet breath. Then look around. Is there a dog nearby? A loud car? A person moving too fast? A strange sound? A surface they do not want to step on? Something may be there, even if it takes you a moment to notice it. Then look at your Chihuahua, not with frustration, with curiosity. Are their ears back? Is their tail low? Are they shaking? Are they looking toward home? Are they holding up one paw? Does the harness look uncomfortable? Is the ground too hot or too cold? Sometimes, helping begins with noticing, not correcting, not pulling, not assuming, just noticing. If they seem afraid, you can give them a little more distance. Step back from the thing that worries them. Move to the side. Let them watch for a moment. Use a calm voice, not loud, not excited, just steady, because your calmness may become the safest part of the walk. And if they choose to take one small step, let that step matter. Praise it gently. Do not rush into 5 more steps. Do not turn courage into pressure. For a Chihuahua, bravery can be tiny. One step, one breath, one moment of choosing to try again. And if they cannot continue, that is not failure. Sometimes the kindest choice is to turn around, to go home calmly, to try again another day. A walk does not have to be long to build trust. It only has to feel safe enough for your Chihuahua to want to try again. So the next time your Chihuahua stops walking, try not to see a stubborn dog. Try to see a small dog, asking a very quiet question. Is it safe? And your answer does not have to be force. It can be patience. It can be softness. It can be the way you loosen the leash and give them a moment to breathe. Because sometimes, what the most important part of the walk is not how far your Chihuahua goes. It is whether they feel safe walking beside you. Has your Chihuahua ever stopped suddenly during a walk? Was it near traffic, another dog, a certain house, or a place they never seem to like? Tell us your Chihuahua's name in the comments and where they usually freeze, because someone else watching may realize they are not alone. And if this helped you see your Chihuahua a little differently, stay with us, Because sometimes, the smallest dogs have the quietest ways of asking to be understood.